You know, when you have those days that you walk into the office at 9 o'clock and the next thing you know, you look at your watch and it's like 5 o'clock and you go, where on earth's the day gone and what have I actually achieved in this day? We all have those, but we're now going to look at planning your working day for maximum efficiency. And the key in this is the word plan, because the more that you can plan, the better chance you have of going, I know what I'm meant to be doing, not all of these things that I'm going, oh, do I try and do them all together or do I just try to pack as many as possible in? So when we look at planning, first, you probably want to know when you are most effective. So do you know if you are a lark or an owl? So if you haven't heard this saying, are you more productive in the morning or later on in the day? You normally can tell this by how you get out of bed. If you wake up and you jump out of bed, you're definitely a lark. If you wake up and you want to put the covers back over and don't really want to get up and it takes you a long time to come round, then you're probably an owl. And even though we have different points of day, we're more effective as well, you tend to fit into one of these. So that's the first thing that you would look at doing. If you haven't done this before, you maybe want to do a 24/7 calendar diary of what you've done in the last week. So you look at this and you literally fill it in. So whether that's stopping each hour through the day and writing it down, or you're doing it 4 times a day or twice a day or whatever, you write down the things that you've done. Every 15 minutes worth, even through the night as well. And then what will happen is you'll see, as this starts to move around, where you're most efficient and where you're least efficient. Now, if you haven't already been able to tell whether you're a lark or an owl, this should start telling you that. But when you look at where you're most productive, then you'd be going, okay, so do I need to do more things around this time? When you look at least productive, then that might be when you look at the tasks that you have and you put them in the order of importance to mundane. So if you see that through these peaks and troughs that you've got, that there's times when you're really not that efficient, maybe it's the time to put the mundane tasks in. When it's the ones that are like where you're most productive, you put the most important ones in. Next, what we'll look at there is you look at planning realistically. So I said planning was really important, but the bit that people get wrong is they don't do it realistically. And then they kick themselves at the end of the day or whatever that they haven't managed to get that thing done. So people tend to either underestimate what they can do or overestimate what they can do in the time. And it's amazing what you can do if you just concentrate on one thing at a time, but that's about planning realistically. So you would ideally have a start time to days and tasks and an end time to it. So every task you've got and every day you have this start and end time. So you do it in a realistic way. Why we do this with the day is it's kind of gone, oh, well, and now I know I'm going to start on these business things. And actually I'm giving my brain permission to switch off as well. But each task, you should then do that as well. And you're probably going to do those things without getting distracted by something else. Then when we look at time, whenever I talk about time management, I talk about this. We tend to have meetings that we make 30 or 60-minute meetings. I don't know why we do that. I think our brain's just programmed to kind of go, oh, it's an hour or it's a half hour. But if you reduce that by a third, and then you have 40-minute meetings and 20-minute meetings, the chances are you're going to get everything done in that. And even if you thought, do you know what it is? I probably can't fit everything in, you'll put in the things that's most important into that as well. My other real good time management tip that comes into this is take 5 minutes. So you take 5 minutes before making a phone call, before going into meetings. I was talking the other day to somebody about leadership and management, and they were talking about before they address some of the staff, and it might have been something that might have been with conflict. always take 5 minutes. Think about what it is that you want to achieve, how that person will feel at the end of that as well, and what you want people to do. And the chances are, again, you'll be able to get that. That's actually another point that comes in really, really nicely, is think, feel, do. If you keep thinking of this all the way through, how somebody's going to think about it, how they're going to feel about it, and what you want them to do, makes you much more efficient in everything you're going to do. The other thing that I would look at is at the end of each day, plan and prepare for next day. Now, I don't mean things that's been planned for a couple of weeks and things like that, but it might be just last minute bits. You go, right, what else do I need to be able to do these things in an efficient way the next day? And then you don't have to worry about it. It's all set. If something's broke or you need something that you haven't got that supply in, the chances are you can get those on the way the next day as well. Now, the final one, and it's probably my biggest tip on here about maximising efficiency, because especially lots of entrepreneurs will tell me that they really don't have the time and they're trying to push everything in to a normal day. But it's about letting your brain work for you. So there's this whole thing that if you go to bed thinking about something, then the next day, often that problem's solved and people go, how does that work? How's that problem just ended up being solved? And it's because when you go to sleep, subconsciously, your brain still works on that thing. So if you really want to maximize efficiency, let your sleep time work for you. Get your brain to solve those problems whilst you're actually asleep. It's a great tip for saving time, but the amount of people who don't realise or don't do anything about it is unbelievable. Start putting these things in place and it will really make your working day much more efficient and effective.